Level 9, the top. You control an empire worth billions, and every rank beneath you exists to feed money upward into your hands. You have outlasted rivals, governments, and betrayals for years, and somewhere along the way, you started to believe you might actually be untouchable. But no one stays at the top forever, and the same ruthlessness that carried you up here is now being learned by the ambitious men just below you. But nobody starts at the top, so forget the mansions for now, and go back to the very bottom, to a plastic chair outside a shop. Because to understand the cartel, you have to climb all 9 levels yourself, from a 15-year-old lookout to the man at the very top. Level 1, the lookout. You are 15 years old, sitting outside a shop with a phone, a drink, and exactly one job to do. Watch the road, they tell you. If you see military trucks, text a code word. If you see rival SUVs, text a different one, and never miss. You are paid $100 a week in cash, no questions asked, which in your neighborhood is more money than anyone your age has ever seen. The older guys do not talk to you, but you watch everything, and you start to see exactly how the whole machine actually works. The police drive past twice a day and simply wave, because they are on the payroll, so the only real threat is the Marines. One day a convoy rolls through and you freeze. You forget to send the warning, and 30 seconds later, your phone explodes with furious messages. A man appears beside you, and he does not shout. He just looks at you and says, "Next time." We bury you in the desert. You never forget again, and you learn the first rule of this world, that the lookouts are the cheapest lives the cartel owns. The lookouts are the eyes of the cartel, the most numerous, the cheapest to replace, and always the first ones to fall when something goes wrong. But you survive. You stay useful. And after months of never missing a convoy again, someone finally decides you are ready to move up. Level 2, the transporter. You're 18 now, and a man approaches you at a gas station and asks a simple question, "Can you drive?" The next morning you show up at a warehouse and find a white truck loaded with hundreds of watermelons stacked high in the back. But welded into the floor beneath the fruit are 500 kilograms of product, and your job is to drive it 8 hours across the country. If you get stopped, you go to prison for 20 years. And if you make it, you get $3,000, so you grip the wheel and drive. Every time headlights appear in your mirror, your stomach drops. But hour after hour you hold your nerve and you make it to the drop. A man you have never met hands you an envelope, and it holds more cash than you have ever touched in your entire life. You do it again the next week, and the week after, soon earning more in a single month than your father earned in an entire year. The work becomes routine. You stop being scared, and that, right there, is exactly when men in this business get sloppy and get caught. Your cousin gets stopped at a checkpoint and given 15 years, and the cartel does not send a lawyer. They simply find a new driver. Level 3, the collector. You have driven for 2 years with no arrests, you have proven you are reliable, and now they hand you a list of addresses. Every business in the plaza pays a monthly tax to the cartel. It is not optional, and your job now is to walk in and collect it. Most owners pay without a word, sliding an envelope across the counter, because everyone in the plaza already knows exactly what happens if they do not. You carry a weapon now, though you rarely need it, because the real power is the reputation of the people standing behind you. One owner is short on the payment and begs for another week, and you have to decide right there what kind of collector you are going to be. You give him the week, but you make sure he understands it as a favor, and favors in this world always have to be paid back later. You are good at this, you are trusted, and the men above you begin to notice that you can handle both money and people without losing your nerve. So they offer you something bigger, not just collecting the money now, but running the people who collect it. And that changes everything. Some owners cannot pay, and you learn quickly that in this job, mercy is a currency you can only spend a very limited number of times. Level 4, the cell leader. You're 25, and now you run a small crew of your own, a handful of men who answer directly to you. Your cell handles one piece of the operation in one area, and you are responsible for the money, the men, and every single thing that goes wrong. You never meet the men above you in person. You only get orders through a phone, and you never ask a single question you do not need answered. You learn to keep your crew loyal with a careful balance of generosity and fear, because a cell leader who loses control does not last very long. When a rival crew moves into your territory, it is you who has to answer for it, and the pressure from above is relentless and immediate. You handle it. You hold your ground, and slowly your name travels upward to people whose names you're not even allowed to know. The better you perform, the more territory they trust you with, until one day, you're no longer running a cell, but coordinating several of them. And that is when you cross the line from being a soldier of the cartel into being one of its genuine managers, with real power and real money. You start carrying the weight of decisions that used to be made above you, and you notice you no longer lose any sleep over them at all. Level 5, the regional operator. You now oversee the cartel's business across an entire region, coordinating transport, product, and dozens of men beneath you. The money you move each month is staggering, more than most legitimate companies ever see, and your job is to make sure it keeps flowing smoothly. You live well now, a nice house, expensive cars, but you also sleep badly, because everyone at this level is a target for rivals in the state. You have to manage the plazas below you, settle disputes, punish failures, and constantly prove to the men above that you are still worth their trust. One of your Plaza bosses skims from the profits and lies about it, and now you face the hardest part of the job, deciding what happens to him. You make the call, the problem disappears, and you feel a little less human than you did the year before, but the money keeps you from thinking about it. You are now one of the most important people in the entire organization, and only a handful of men on Earth outrank you in this world. And above you sits the man who controls the whole state, the one they call the Plaza boss. And one day, that could be you. You realize the men above you rose the exact same way you did, and that every one of them is watching the men below for the first sign of ambition. Level 6, the Plaza boss. You now run an entire state. Every road, every shipment, and every collector within it ultimately answers to you. The wealth at this level is almost unreal. Mansions, ranches, private zoos, and more cash than you could ever hope to spend in a lifetime. But so is the danger, because at this level, you're hunted by the government, by rivals, and quietly, by the ambitious men directly beneath you. You surround yourself with bodyguards. You never sleep in the same place twice, and you trust almost no one, not even your closest lieutenants. You bribe officials at the highest levels. You control the police and the local politicians, and for a while you feel completely untouchable. But untouchable is a dangerous feeling, because the bigger you become, the more the government needs to make an example out of you specifically. Rivals put a price on your head. The Marines start hunting you directly, and the empire you built begins to feel more like a prison every day. Yet there is still one level above even you. One man whose name is spoken in whispers, the leader of the entire cartel himself. You have everything money can buy, and yet you cannot walk down a street in daylight. And slowly, you understand that you traded one cage for another. Level 7, the cartel leader. You built this, or you inherited it. And now you sit at the very top of a billion-dollar criminal empire. Governments on 2 continents hunt you. Your face is known around the world, and yet for years you slip through every net they set for you. You have more money than you can ever launder, buried in fields and walls and hidden accounts, scattered secretly across the entire world. But at the very top, the paranoia is total, because you know with absolute certainty that the only way down from here is prison or a grave. Every man around you could betray you for the right price, and the higher you climbed, the fewer people are left that you can actually trust. You move constantly between safe houses. You limit who knows your location, and you understand that one phone call is all it takes to end you. And then one gray morning, after years at the very top, it finally happens. The thing every man at this level knows is always coming for him. Level 8, Supermax. They got you. Maybe a raid, maybe a betrayal, and now the man who ruled an empire sits inside a concrete box. There are no bribes here, no tunnels, no loyal men, just 4 concrete walls, a steel door, and 23 hours a day entirely alone. The money you buried is useless to you now, and the men who swore they would die for you have already found someone new to serve. You are extradited, put on trial, and sentenced to spend the rest of your natural life in a cell smaller than the bathrooms in your old mansion. Now you have those 4 concrete walls, and the rest of your life, to think about every single person you crushed on the way to the top. You were untouchable once, feared across an entire country, and now, you are a number, forgotten by almost everyone who once said your name in fear. The name that once made an entire region tremble now means nothing to the guard, who slides your food through a slot without ever looking up. This is where the ladder ends for the man at the top, not in glory, but in a concrete box, which is exactly where it ends for almost all of them. Level 9, the Successor. Because the cartel does not die with you, your nephew takes over, or your son, or your most trusted lieutenant. Someone always steps up, the product keeps flowing, the money keeps moving, and the cycle simply resets, as if you were never really there at all. You were the king, and now you are just a story, a cautionary tale, a ghost story that parents tell their children about greed and pride. Because there's always another 15-year-old sitting outside a shop, watching the road, waiting for a man in a truck to call his name. This is the cartel, not a gang, but a business, a billion-dollar empire built on blood and fear, and right now, tonight, it is still running.